What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Grafkins podcast. Once again, we're back here in Maidstone, Kent's hottest nightclub, Moo Moo's, and we have another special guest, if not the biggest guest. It's the one and only Paul Brunson.
Oh man, I appreciate it.
You good?
Yeah, you know what can I say is, and I said this before we started, is that I drove a long ass way to be here. The whole time in the car is like, where are we going? Where are we going? This is my first time in Kent, so thank you.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
nice,
thank
man.
you. I appreciate it.
First and last time, I bet.
It's like I'm never coming here again.
We appreciate you, man.
No. I had to do. I mean, in particular, I was like, honestly, all right, real story.
Go on,
real
bro,
story
go on.
is I was looking at the calendar today, right, and so I looked at the time that this was, and I said, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do it. Then I said, who is it? Ozzy, hold on for a second. We've been trying to do this forever.
Exactly.
I was like, no, I'm gonna commit to this man.
Wow, okay.
And so I said, no matter what, I'm coming out.
So it was a name that brought you back. Okay,
Yeah,
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Guys, Ash, cut that out.
Yeah, cut that out.
We appreciate you coming, man. I know you are a busy man, so
Yeah,
I appreciate you
busy,
coming.
everybody's busy.
I don't know, but we scheduled this 3 months prior, so it was one of them ones. It could happen or not, but I'm glad you're here.
It's
mate.
been a long
So
time in the
appreciate
making, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're the first American I think we've had on the pod as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, have y'all been to America?
Yeah.
Everyone. No.
No, I've not been.
Of course. Now, where would you like to visit?
I don't know. Like I think
LA.
Miami, LA, LA, all over. I think New York definitely.
See, notice this. You said Miami,
Here we go.
LA, New York, all over. See,
Yeah.
you could only be East or West Coast.
This guy.
I'm telling you already. Like you could only function East or West Coast.
Because we're too urban, like you said.
Yeah, look at this. You
I
two
mean-
are too high maintenance. There'd be no way you could live in the middle of the country.
Noted.
There would be no gym there for you.
What? I'm not going near there. No way.
Yeah.
But doesn't it look like Yo goes to the gym? He's more high maintenance.
What does that even mean?
He's more high maintenance than all of us.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, but I could definitely survive anywhere, man.
Yeah, so could I though.
I think you could, bro.
Paul, listen, don't judge me, mate. I can
really?
survive,
Oh,
mate.
hold on. Who's the most high maintenance out of y'all? Really?
Aussie.
He sniffed you out, bro. He sniffed you out.
Why isn't it?
He's an expert. He's a professional.
Yeah,
He
but
sniffed you out
yeah,
straight
but why
away.
is it me though?
Yeah. Why
I
not?
don't know what.
No, you tell us.
Yeah.
It's
No,
you.
you lot say since you're the one saying it. Not to make this a domestic, Paul. Sorry.
Fight.
No, we can't.
Where in America are you from?
New York.
Oh, lovely, man.
Yeah,
Whereabouts? Queens.
Oh,
nice.
Claim to fame of where I'm from is Hillside Avenue. So it was basically close to the block that 50 Cent
Yeah, I was just
was
about to say
shot 9 times.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's my claim to fame.
Whereabouts was he shot? In Queens, but where?
Yeah, he was shot right off of or close to Hillside Avenue. So he was, he was known for many things.
Yeah.
But in particular, that was right around the time where he had just dropped, I think it was a tape called How to Rob.
Yeah, he robs all the rappers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people just didn't like what he had to say. And so, yeah. But you see what happened to 50. Like,
Of course.
He did well.
That's pretty cool.
Do you like 50?
Yeah, I do. I love him, man.
Same, man.
Yeah, I think he's incredible. I think he's an incredible entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Incredible.
he is.
He's so switched on. He reads the market and he goes for it.
Mm.
And he changed the game, even the TV shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
No one's doing what he's doing.
Not
Absolutely.
superficial or anything either. Like his money, it's not like a. He doesn't care about it, does he? I think
He's not very
He used to
flashy.
be when he
Yeah,
was younger.
no, he's not very flashy now. He's
No.
a businessman.
Yeah.
he's
He's a businessman now.
And I think what he's done also is he's been able to make money in different areas,
Yeah.
which is very rare that you see people do that.
Yeah.
So it's like he can go to, as you said, like it's music, but then he can go to television. But then also he's back into music. Like this tour, he's on tour right now. You know about this
Yeah,
tour?
we're gonna go and see him.
Oh,
at the end of the
And
year,
the
yeah.
money he's made from this tour is mad.
It's
Really?
crazy, like
Yeah.
what he's done. So you got to give it to him.
Yeah, because I
He's
see
great.
him and Buster talking about how many tickets he sold.
I think it was 1 million
Wow.
pre-sale.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and that's not $1 million. That's $1 million
Tickets.
Tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what? Like
An average cost of like maybe $250 or something like that.
That's outrageous.
Dude,
That's
That's
crazy.
He's the realest to ever do it, though. I'm sorry.
I love it, man.
We grew up
yeah.
watching
Yeah.
50, listening to 50. Like, he's the realest to ever do it. I don't think there'll ever be another 50.
But hold on. Are you saying he's the best to ever do it though?
No.
No.
Okay, all right.
No. Drake, in my eyes, is the best to ever do it.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, all right.
Eminem.
He's gonna.
Oh
Get...
my God. Oh my God. Okay.
Who's so
Go
best?
on.
Come on, tell us,
Okay,
Paul.
all right. Let me teach you.
We're gonna get educated.
Hold on a second. All right, so Drake, phenomenal. Like phenomenal. Eminem, phenomenal. In my opinion, in my humble opinion, I think the best to ever do it. And he always drops off lists now, and I think it's because of his age.
Can I guess?
Yes.
Nas.
No,
No,
it's close.
I think you're gonna say Lil Wayne.
No.
Oh, Jay-Z.
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 Oh, okay.
Jay-Z, right? Sean Carter.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that is because Jay-Z has not only stood the test of time in terms of his like lyricism, but in terms of his business acumen, right? But then also flip that into what he's done with his family. Like his wife is Beyonce.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy.
just take a moment to think about,
True.
you know, and so you think about what he's created in terms of his management company. He was an executive in music, right? He's now into film. The real estate holdings that he and his wife have is just one of those where, you know, he himself is a billionaire. His wife is nearly a billionaire. Collectively, they're worth over $1 billion.
That's outrageous.
But then the power that he has in the industry,
Influence in it, yeah, mad.
Crazy.
Definitely.
yeah.
He controls a lot of the industry, music industry.
Yeah, I think he is he literally can stop projects from happening.
he can,
relay projects.
Have you met
so,
him before?
Man, so all right, I got a great story.
Go on.
This is a great story for a pod too. Is so, you know, I took my wife to Miami around. This was like, I don't know the exact year, but I think it was like 2006, 2007. And it was at a hotel called the Delano, or some people say Delano. Have you heard about this hotel?
No.
I haven't.
All right. You two would love
man.
You two would love this hotel. In particular,
Contract.
you would love this hotel because it's in South Beach.
Okay.
It's an Art
So?
Deco hotel.
Right.
It was famous because Madonna had opened the hotel for her birthday.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And this is a very lavish hotel. So much so that when we got there, this is no exaggeration, we got there, we looked at the pool, and who was sitting in the pool, because there's a, if you Google it, you'll see that there's a very famous photo with the chair in the pool.
Okay.
Diddy is
Oh,
sitting
wow.
in the middle of this thing, and it's like the whole thing. It's got women coming around and all this. So this Delano Hotel, fabulous, fly, incredible. So I took my wife there because it was her birthday and because Beyonce was kicking off a concert
Okay.
there,
Wow.
right? It was like the
Two birds, one
Ladies
stone.
Something World Tour, something like that, right? To me, it was on it, and Beyonce, and it was somebody else. But long story short is we were there for Beyonce. Okay, so we're there strictly for Beyonce. And one morning I wake up, go to the gym. Nobody's in this gym at the hotel. And I'm thinking, okay, nobody's going to be at this gym at this hotel. I'm in there working out. And then the biggest dude I've ever seen in my life. He's about 8 feet tall. He walks into this little gym. He had to duck his head down and get into this gym. He walks into the gym. He looks around and he leaves. And I was like, yo, Beyonce is about to come in. This is crazy. Beyonce's about to work out. Who comes in?
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
And so Jay-Z's working out. I'm working out. I called my wife. I was like, Jill,
Starstruck.
Jay-Z is in the gym. Like, to me, he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
oh my
that's it.
God, we're fucking Jill crazy. So, and this is, my wife jokes me on this, but this is the truth is, I was like, Jill, Jay-Z is in the, hello? And then Jill, my wife, walks into the gym.
Oh, no way.
So she heard what I said.
And she came.
She came down. She's in a brand new jumpsuit I've never seen in my life.
You don't wear that
Makeup, like, and I was like, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. This is crazy. She comes into the gym. This is, and I said, all right, look, it's a small gym. Just don't stare at it. Don't stare. And the whole time she's like,
You can't blame her.
man. So I was like, look, if you keep staring, you have to leave. You can't stay in the gym like this. This is Jay-Z. Come on, don't do this. You're going to embarrass me. So she kept just be like, So I said, Jill, you gotta leave. So I told her to leave.
You kicked her out the
I
gym.
kicked her out the gym. And then I was working out here. Jay-Z's working out here. We keep coming close. And then there was like this one area where you do pull-ups. And he came and I was like, all right, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? What am I going to do? I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know. This is crazy. And I was just like, hey, from New York. You know, I know you're from New York. Man, I think you're the greatest to ever do it. He pounded me up. I was like, all right, cool. And I went back to the room and I was like, I'm never washing my hair.
Fully gassed. Fully
I'm
gassed.
never washing my hair. But yeah, man. So, and then he was there because Beyonce was there. And, you know, that's actually when they announced that they were dating.
Oh wow,
Oh, wow.
that's some
Yeah.
time
Oh,
ago.
yeah, I was gonna
Oh,
say.
back.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was a minute. Yeah.
Oh wow,
That's wild, man.
That's pretty cool.
That's
to
a
be
good
honest.
story. That's
Yeah,
a
man.
cool story.
And
Well,
that's
I've
you
got-
getting starstruck.
Yeah. And honestly, I think he's the only person that I've ever just like,
Yeah,
I was
wow.
gonna say, Paul, don't get nervous.
man, yeah, I was just like,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Understandably.
No, understandably,
He's-
of course.
yeah.
I mean, it is Jay-Z end of the day, but
I think I'd be
I don't think
speechless
we'll be
if I
bumping him into
met Drake.
Maidstone anytime soon.
If I met Em or Drake, yeah, I'd be speechless.
I'd be like, I don't.
What do you say?
Yeah, what do you say? It's like, no, every
Try and
single
find
one
a common ground, innit? But you can't.
every single one of your songs.
Just don't start singing the
Yeah.
song.
Can you imagine?
Oh my God.
My boy, I just realised, you know what we didn't do?
I know, just about to say it.
Yeah, but we know who you are. But for our listeners and our audience, it's good. We got so sidetracked in conversation there. Would you please just do us a little honor of telling the people a little bit about you, who you are, what you're about?
Yeah. You know, I feel like I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a grafter. Like,
Love that.
That's I think that's what I do. A lot of people, I think, in the UK probably know me more for television. So I co-host Married at First Sight UK, co-host Celebs Go Dating. I've got a segment on Lorraine every Friday where I talk about relationships and cool stuff. I'm also the head of global research for Tinder, which is the
wow.
biggest dating
Wow.
app in the world. Yeah, I got that position at the beginning of this year.
Wow.
Which that's something that I'm super, jazzed about. I'm an author, but more importantly, I'm a father, I'm a husband, all those things are the most important. And the reason why I say I'm an entrepreneur is because my wife and I created the largest matchmaking agency in the United States. We sold it in 2016, right before we came here to London. I was in investment banking, I've done a lot, I think, in my career.
Yeah, nice.
But in particular, I feel like what I do is I teach. That's really what I'm trying to focus on right now is like teaching about relationship science.
Love science.
Love science,
yeah.
especially to fellas. Like, I think
we need it, mate.
Yeah,
we need it. We need
You're
you
on the
to
right
that.
podcast, man. That's it. On a real though, like, because we're called the Graph Kings. You just said you're a grafter, you're an entrepreneur. That's what we're trying to promote to our audience. And we talk about dating, we talk about girls, talk about relationships
All the
and stuff
time,
like that. And our audience is mainly men. So
Nice.
this is you're the perfect
Nice.
guest to have on.
nice.
And
So,
we are
We're in need.
Yeah, we're in need.
so everybody's single up here.
Everyone's
Yeah.
single.
Okay, interesting. Now, so question though, like real talk is,
Sure.
are you single looking for a long-term partner or something else?
Do you want to do it individually, boys?
Yeah,
I
go
think-
on. Go on, Oz.
I think personally for me, quote me if I'm wrong, I'll probably say I'm the most ready to maybe find someone
Okay.
if it is the right person to have something more than just seeing someone. I'm not
Okay.
necessarily has to be marriage and all that, but I would like something a bit more deeper. But at the same time, I'm very content in the position I'm in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Okay.
I'm not looking. I'm very, very happy on my own.
Okay.
I've got so much peace. I'm happy. I've got good friends around me. But that's not to say if I come across the right girl, I would probably give it a go.
Okay.
But I'm not looking at all.
Okay. No. Okay.
I would say I would never look for a relationship, but I'm open to the idea of a relationship if the right person was to come along. But I think it took me a long time to get as secure as I am now, and I almost don't want to let someone in.
Okay.
Because the reason I wasn't as secure before was because of the person that I was with. Do you get what I'm saying?
All right. That's real. We should unpack that.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's definitely do that.
We
with
should
Bert.
unpack that.
Similar boat, man. I'm very happy and content by myself. I love the idea of finding that one person. I've probably definitely got, I don't know, I'm quite a complicated guy in that sense in terms of maybe trust issues and things like that. So I'm at a point in my life where life's so busy
Yeah.
and content that it's like maybe I'll I'd be out of order for me to. It'd be wrong for me to try and say that. Yeah, I can commit time to you right now. Do you know what I'm saying? So
because you're putting time elsewhere.
Yeah. So I'm still building myself, as we all are. Right? I'm still discovering it ourselves, what we like, what we don't like, what we want to do in life. Trying to build this business out and build this podcast out. Like I said, if the right woman come along and she slotted in to my life, and she also had her own thing going on, but was also there just to like, babe, I'm away with the boys this weekend, I'm busy. Cool, no dramas, I'm busy too. Love that, no problem. So yeah, like I said, I love the idea of it, perhaps maybe just not right now.
Not right now. Okay. Yeah. So, the reason why I asked that question is because I'm sorry, what's everybody's ages up here?
32.
32.
28.
28, 27.
27.
28.
Okay, so it's interesting. So, all right, I got married when I was 25.
Wow.
Right? And everybody was telling me, Paul, it's way too young to get married. You're going to mess up your business. You're going to, you're putting so much trust into somebody. It's just not a good move, right? And the reason why I like to talk to fellas at your age is because, quite honestly, when you look at the research, if you are happy in who you are, you do feel secure in who you are, that when you have a partner, you not only make more money, but you are happier, you live longer, right? There's a gentleman by the name of Dr. Waldinger. He's a professor out of Harvard. He is the longest longitudinal study around happiness and satisfaction. His book just came out. It's called The Good Life.
Right.
And basically it's like, look, if you want to live the good life, which for us means what? We want to have impact. We want to have money. We want to have autonomy.
Sure.
That anybody who grafts, that's really what you want. You want those three things, right? If you want that, it's easier to come by through having a life partner. So I'm not up here to try to sell marriage or sell partnership, but I'm just saying like, those are the facts.
Statistically.
I can believe that.
Statistically,
I can believe that.
I could believe it too, but I just...
Because I'm definitely, although that you asked us that question there, I'm definitely now out of that zone of dating, chasing birds.
For the sake of it.
Just for that, I've been and done that for 10 years, do you know what I mean, since I was a teenager. So like, I am now definitely out of that zone of just trying to chase birds, chirps anyone up, having the sort of in one night meaningless stands. Like, it's all fun and games and stuff like that, but that is just absolutely not a priority.
Yeah, and also too is, I'm going to say, I mean, personally speaking, all of that, because we've all been there, right? All of that was a waste of time, energy, resources, distraction,
so much, mate.
Right? And then also too is what I think a lot of men also need to understand about partnership is that, and this is a delicate conversation, but a lot of your resources will go to doing all of those things where they could be allocated towards you, your business, or one person that you can actually build with, right? And then the other thing too is you look at the health of it. The big reason why having a partner helps you, literally, this is in his book. If you smoke cigarettes, a pack of cigarettes, right, every day, you take an average of 10 years off your life, right? So that's what the sign, 10 years off your life, boom. Having a partner adds 10 years to your life. Now, why is that? The key is not just having any partners, having a strong partner.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And why is that? Because it lowers your stress. You lowers your stress, right? And when you have less stress, you have less inflammation. And inflammation is what gives you heart attacks and what gives you strokes, inflammation. So at the end of the day, having a great partner helps you to do all of those things. And so I advocate for keep your eyes open. If you're open to it, be really open to it.
But you know what the issue is that I believe? I agree with you, but it's 2023 and the way the world has evolved through dating, social media,
hookup culture,
society, hookup culture. It's like looking for a needle in a haystack. It's so difficult to find that because everyone's lost their authenticity, no one's themselves and everyone's just trying to be something else. Women are like men now, men are like women, and it's all just changed. Yeah. So in today's day and age of dating, it's just been difficult to find that, which is why everyone is probably taking a massive step back.
Yeah. So I don't disagree with it being difficult, right? But you just said you're looking.
Yeah.
So how many women do you think are looking?
True.
Right? So it's harder. No doubt it's harder. But you could even argue that the consequences of finding a right partner are actually less today than it was back in the day. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
And like, if you disagree, debate me on it, right?
Yeah.
Let's go all the way back, hunter-gatherer days. Let's go 2.5 million years back.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
The partner you chose meant life or death that night.
Elaborate. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Elaborate
The
for me.
partner you chose meant life or death that night. So, okay, so if we go back to, Homo sapiens, the origin of Homo sapiens, right? Out of East Africa,
Yeah.
right? Headed upwards to Turkey, right? To modern day Turkey, right? Let's keep it real. That's where we all came from. At that time, we ran around in basically small squads of between 20 and 150 people, right? That's how we got down. Now, we would do what's called parabonding. We would pair off, and it was typically heterosexual pairing off. Why? Because we wanted offspring.
Yeah.
Now,
Reproduce, yeah.
who you chose as a partner meant your life or death. So you're a female, you choose the wrong partner, what happens? You can't be defended. Your baby cannot be defended, right? You can't be protected. You could be killed off by someone else in the clan or by someone in an opposing clan, because we ran in tribes and we were murdering each other since day one, okay? Because of whatever differences. Who you chose, the male who you chose as a partner, meant the strength of your child, and it meant the genetics, but also it meant, would you survive? Would you be looked after? Would you be taken care of, right? Life or death consequences from the beginning. Now, when you stretch over time and you look at how pair bonding or mating, however you want to define it, has changed over time, is there have always been consequences to who the partner is.
Yep,
True.
for
Okay.
sure.
And I think the consequences are, even back to what we were just saying, it's like you choose the right partner, you live long. But let's say, what happens when you choose a bad partner today? What happens?
So much shit.
Everything goes south.
Yeah.
Are you talking about
Stress
the result
le-
of it? You
stress
just get rid
le-
of it because it's so easy to get another one. Is that what you mean by that? Or
But no, like the
Stress levels,
stress,
anxiety, arguments, just trauma, fighting,
Finances, physical,
Everything.
mental well-being, everything.
everything.
right. You divorce, what happens to the finances? Like,
Lose your assets.
Yeah, fucks. Yeah, it's all fucked. Yeah.
exactly. You choose the wrong partner, that's what happens. So it's like, the consequences are high, but I'm just saying that they've always been high. It is more challenging now. I agree, it's more challenging, but there are millions of people out there that are looking for a partner.
Yeah, okay.
Millions.
I mean, that's fair enough.
yes, people, if you are enjoying the pod as much as us boys are, I'd appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button. Let's get back to the pod.
Paul, how would you, how do I word this correctly? Like, there's a fine balance between being a singleton and sort of, and this is male and female, working on yourself and becoming the best version of yourself, and also finding that good balance between, sort of not jumping in that meaningless relationships, which I feel so many people do today.
Yeah.
So I'm in a relationship for 6 months and all of a sudden, I love you. They're split up. They're with another guy. I love you so much. I'm like, come on. There's no depth. Like, people are as empty as that bottle cap. Like, that's how shallow people are today. Yeah.
Right.
How do you keep that balance of being single and doing your thing, working on yourself, and also maybe not coming in and out of relationships, but in a dating scene where you're maybe with someone for 6 months or 12 months or whatever the case may be? How do you find that sort of niche balance of doing that without being it just a waste of your time for another 6 months?
I mean, there's a lot to it, but it probably gets back to your story in that the work honestly begins, and this is where I think a lot of men, where we have to focus more of our efforts, is in what we missed as a child and how the trauma that we had as a child or as a young adult in relationships, how that shows up in how we now show up. right?
Okay.
Because, you know, like you look at mental health, you look at suicide in particular, right? What percentage of suicides do you think are men?
It's the higher percentage.
I think it's become women recently.
No,
Really?
it's not. Men.
It is men, but I thought I saw a statistic. I don't know, it might be wrong. Where women are like in a position of taking their life now more than they was before. But
I would agree with more than before.
yeah, more than before, but still men.
But right now, as of 2 days ago, when I looked at the stats for 2022, this is UK US. 75%
Of suicides.
of suicides are men.
Fucking hell.
75%, 3 out of 4, right? Our mental health is lower than it's ever been ever, right? And there's many reasons for this.
Yeah.
But where we have to begin is we have to say, okay, you know what? How I'm showing up, the challenges that I have, the thoughts that I have, it comes from somewhere. Where does it come from? It typically comes from how we grew up.
Yeah.
Right? I'm second generation immigrant. Grew up in Queens, New York. It wasn't the nicest of places. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so how I grew up shows up in how I act today.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have to understand that that's where it begins. We have to question what happened. Why did it happen? And we have to work at understanding it was trauma and we have to deal with that. And not only was it as a child, but it was the relationships that we had. You know, I think that there's so much emphasis placed on male toxicity, but no one really talks about female toxicity.
Yeah, facts.
Definitely.
And how that shows up and impacts how and why we love, right? And so we have to do all of that work first. And then the second point, I think, and this is how I think it connects to business, is my theory is, so, you know, I've got a theory of social capital. And my theory around social capital is that the better that we become at the things that we're passionate about, the better we show up in the world, the more opportunities we get.
Yeah.
Right?
Very true.
100%.
Yeah, facts.
So it's like whatever the business is that we're grafting on, that we're passionate about, don't just be good at that. Don't just be really good at that. Become world class at that. Become so good the world can't ignore you at that. Because when you become so good, like the way I look at relationship science, right? My objective is to become #1 in the world at teaching relationship science. Like there's so many greats. My goal is to be the greatest.
Yeah.
And if I'm the greatest, what happens to me? What happens to me is I'm more passionate about how I show up. I've got more confidence about how I show up, right? I make more money. I have more autonomy. I have more impact. I have more attention. I have more people who want to, you know, do deals. I have more opportunities that come my way. That tide rises. Everything in me, like around me rises because I'm world class at what I do.
So true.
If we focus on doing that, then opportunity comes. And part of that opportunity is romance.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So I think the work is the trauma. Let's deal with that. And let's focus on being world class.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wow. That was
Such a
Would you
good
say
point.
like the way we love our partners is conditioned from how we was loved by our parents?
Definitely. So it starts with attachment theory.
Yeah.
Y'all familiar with attachment theory? Okay. So attachment theory is getting a lot of attention right now because it's a relatively new concept. It's only 20 years basically in the making. It's Dr. Amir Levine who wrote this book, Attached, who really is the godfather around attachment theory. And in essence, that's exactly what he's saying. He's saying that how we attached to our first caregiver, how we saw them give us love. Because remember, as a child, whatever you're getting, you think is love. You're getting hit, you think that's love. You're getting ignored, you think that's love. You're getting hugged, you think that's love. No matter what it is, at that age, you think that's love. So how we got what we saw is love, that is how we see love as an adult. And I'm sorry.
No. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And then the other thing though about attachment theory, and this is why I want to hear your story, because I think it's powerful, is that a lot of people don't realize that attachment doesn't stick as just a child. It changes based on are partners. So you could be, so there's three main types of attachment. There's a fourth, but the key three is you could be secure. Secure means that when you were with your caregiver as a child, your caregiver, when you had a problem, you could go to your caregiver and they were there for you. Okay. And so you now see security in yourself and you grow up and you're secure. 50% of the population roughly is secure attachment. Okay. Then another one is called avoidant, avoidant attachment. What is avoidant attachment? That meant that when your caregiver was, when you wanted love, they weren't there. Now, it doesn't mean that they didn't love you. For a lot of us first generation immigrants, our families were working 2-3 jobs. And that wasn't just immigrants, it was a lot, right? And so they just couldn't be there because they were working, right? So we saw love as, you know what? Mom and dad are working on behalf of us, right? They're not there to give me the hug. I need to hug myself. Avoidant. We grow up that way. Distance in the relationship. Then there's anxious. Anxious is when sometimes mom and dad or the caregiver was there, sometimes they weren't. So sometimes they give you that hug, sometimes they be away. So you grow up like, oh, I don't know.
Interesting.
Like, I don't know.
Unbelievable,
right?
isn't it?
This is crazy, yeah.
And so now that's how it's set as a child. Now, a lot of people say, okay, as an adult, it should just carry through. But no, every time we're in a relationship with someone, it then impacts us. So you could have had a secure foundation, but you get into a relationship with someone who's super, super avoidant, right? You want to be there. Come on, baby, whatever. And she's like, no, right? Or whatever it may be. And then you become avoidant in your attachment. And so now you're avoidant. You're going from secure to avoidant. And now that toxicity, and I shouldn't say toxicity. I should say that those challenges now you take to your next relationship. So long story short, to your question, very, very important. We don't talk enough about it.
Yeah, I feel like we don't. Because I definitely know that what I experienced as a kid is impacting me today with relationships as well. Because my parents broke up when I was 10, divorced when I was 10, and it wasn't the best of like family households. So I think I kind of hold on to that and think, is it going to happen to me as well?
Yes.
Right. And I didn't see the best of examples growing up of what a relationship should be. So I'm a bit reluctant to get into one because I think I'm going to end up like that as well.
Right.
But obviously I think being conscious of that is probably like a big step forward, but then taking action, like I've said before, is the difficult part.
Yes.
It's actually implying that into your thoughts, into action.
Yes.
And that's what I struggle with.
Yeah. But let me tell you, this is why, and I want to big up what y'all are doing, is because we don't have enough of this as men. Opportunities to come together and just talk. And I think that a lot of, you hear, unfortunately, you hear a good number of women, I shouldn't say a lot, but a good number of women are like, nah, men are just dogs, they're dicks. Yeah. Right. But I think what many people don't understand is that there is a reason why women are so much better at relationships. And they are. And the reason why is because they dialogue more about it. There's more of these type of opportunities.
Before dating, before going out, they talk about it constantly.
Look how many women talk shows there are.
Look what I'm wearing.
There are no men talk shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, like, all right, let's dig deep on what Ozzy's saying. Before they go on the date, how many conversations have they had?
Yeah,
right?
Loads.
Before you go on a date, how many conversations you have?
Barely none.
You're not even saying nothing. You don't want to tell anybody.
It's so true.
Talk about it.
Turn your location off. Where are you tonight, bro? I'm busy.
Hey, they're giving updates during the day. Summarising after.
Oh my God.
What's the potential? What does he do? Oh my God, is he this? Is he that? And we're just like, yeah, she's all right. She's all right. She's an absolute weapon, mate.
Yeah, exactly. The real question, like, did you hit? But that's it. That's all we get. And that's what makes them better. And that's actually called a feedback loop. Right. Whenever you're in a feedback loop, you become better at the thing. And so that's why this is so dope, is because you're creating this for men. Is great.
I mean, we've said we're not role models, but since we've started this, the amount of people that have reached out to us as well to say you've helped me with
relationships, breakups, getting back in the gym, getting a new job, reaching out and cutting off dead relationships and
traveling,
it's insane.
And we don't think we're influential at all. Obviously, we're doing this for a good reason, good intentions. But if I look at you boys, I just feel like a bunch of degenerates.
If you knew what goes on that side of this pod, Paul, you wouldn't be here, bro.
Oh my God.
On a real, yeah. So, but based on what you said about relationships when you was a kid, I had a really good upbringing, good family home, parents still together, mum was very loving. But then I don't understand why I'm so reluctant to get into a relationship. I can't figure out why is that? Because I never crave it. I don't feel alone. I don't feel unloved. I don't feel like I need to jump into anything. I'm just so content. I'm thinking, where's that stem from? Because I've come from a well-loving background. Mum was always there for me, always. So I was thinking, where's this then? So where's that void?
But you know what? It's not a problem. Okay. It's not a problem. One thing we have to understand is that society has changed drastically in just the last 20 years. So let me hit you with the stat. This is 30 years ago. So 30 years ago, here in the UK, if you were between the ages of 30 and 34, 70% of the population was married.
Wow.
70%. You know what it is today?
It's gone down dramatically, right?
Yeah,
is it?
It's 35.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's one half.
Wow.
Now, is that because everybody's anxious or avoidant or has problems? No, it's because the needs of society are different, right?
Right.
You have more financial responsibilities.
Facts.
You know, so now society is telling you, don't get married, hold off, right? There's less places to actually interact with people now. Everybody's on this, you know what I mean? Communication. So society has changed. So don't think that is you being a problem. It's just society changed.
Right. Okay.
And so I think that's a big thing for us to all say, okay, let's chill for a second. It's like, it's not like a lot of people say there's a marriage crisis. Yes, the marriage rate is definitely declining, but is actually fairly flat. It's been pretty flat for 20 years here. It is relatively low than what it has been in the past, but it is not going to zero. A matter of fact, do you know what groups represent the highest levels of marriage, and it really hasn't changed over the years?
You mean religious groups or cultures?
Actually, all right, this is the quiz. I'll just say subcultures.
Right.
So what subcultures has marriage basically remain unchanged for the last 30, 40 years? Or characteristics. So traits that we have.
I don't even know. I don't even know what subculture is, if I'm totally honest with you.
All right. Well, all right.
Sorry.
Do you mean like introverts and extroverts, people like that?
No.
Well, all right. Let me throw it out. Highly educated.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So if you have master's level, PhD, highly educated, relatively unchanged. The other, ultra wealthy.
Right.
Ultra wealthy, relatively unchanged.
You reckon it's because they got less to lose because they're in such a good financial position or position of power? They don't really see the negatives of if they have a relationship that fails, they're still kind of in the good position of power. Whereas if you're just a normal average bloke, that woman could take potentially half your dough. Is that probably what you're saying?
Man, I think that as society is changing, society is putting more pressure on people that don't have a lot of money, right? And it's becoming much more costly for people who don't have a lot of money. And so that's one thing. The messaging also is different depending on, you know, those pockets, but then also a lot, and this is something that a lot of researchers talk about, is a lot of if you marry or if you break up is based on your social circle.
Yeah.
So there is a theory,
Right.
there's a theory that, for example, divorce is contagious.
Oh, wow.
And the reason why the theory exists is because chances are, I think it's roughly 80-something%, if you are divorced or you are divorcing, you have at least one close friend who has divorced.
That's
Really?
interesting.
Think about that, right? Now, why is that? Why do you think that could be?
Well,
Well, I don't know, but I've definitely seen the reverse. Not to, I'll get you back on that tangent, but I have noticed in previous times when all of a sudden people start getting in a relationship within the group, everybody else seems to
Everyone
follow
else
suit.
is, yeah.
Yes.
And so next thing you know, like,
Yes.
fuck, we've all got birds.
And then
Yes.
when we're single,
Everyone
everyone's
seems to
single.
break. Everyone seems to break up.
Everyone,
Products of the
yes,
environment, yeah. So
yes.
So why is that? Yeah.
Product of the environment, right? It's because, well, there's many reasons for it, right?
Okay.
But one of the big reasons, let's look at the divorce, then let's look at the marriage.
Sure.
The divorce is that some people say, well, you know what? Look, I'm free.
Mhm.
Look at me having, look, I'm in Malta, I'm on Croatia, like I'm wilding out, like look at this. And so you think, oh my God, maybe I should be.
Yeah,
Right?
for real.
Yeah.
So you got that influence. The other part of it is the peer pressure around being the only one now in the group, right? So you've got peer pressure from both the negative
Yeah.
and positive.
Mhm.
But then it's the flip on the other side. It's like, look, like it's like me. It's like if you all hung with me for a full 30 days a month, you'd be like, yo, I'm getting married.
Yeah, I can see that.
Marriage is great. Like, you know, and actually to that point, this is what I do say about marriage is a lot of people like to say, man, marriage, why? I can have a different lady every night.
You sound like me.
Let me tell you what, and I'll debate anybody on this. The sex is a million times better with a married partner. And you're looking at me like, Paul, what are you saying? You crazy. Look, you all looking at me like, you're crazy. Let me tell you why. And we're going to go back, but let me tell you why. Because I feel like
Yeah.
you really want to, he leaned in like.
I want to say something.
This is the reason why, is because first, if you have someone who need to have someone who you are physically attracted to.
Sure.
Right? If you have someone who you are physically attracted to, number one is that the best sex in the world is really based on how emotionally intimate and connected you are with that person.
Okay.
I don't care how many
Yeah,
backflips
I agree
she's
with
doing.
that.
I don't care how, like, all of that is cool, right? But at the end of the day, when you feel emotionally connected to the highest level, the sex is going to be a million times better.
Yeah.
That's one. Secondly, is that when you have that high level of emotional connection with somebody, you could try everything and anything, and you will try everything and anything. Trust me, everything and anything you will try, and you typically don't get that level of experimentation with everybody, right?
Yeah.
And then the last is that you have a partner who's there for you all of the time. Like the big joke on Celebs Go Dating, right? Our show.
Yep.
Is
on.
the joke for me is everyone's like, man, Paul has sex every morning. And I pretty much do.
Do you? Yeah. Okay.
It's pretty much like
That's why you're happy every day. Yeah.
pretty much like pretty much like literally I have more sex than anyone I know. Even the sex doctor on our show. It's like I still have more sex. And the reason why is because I have a partner who's literally in bed naked with me all of the time. You know, so it's one of these where, please, I want to hear what you have to say.
I think
But-
we've all got something to say.
I can believe you 100%.
But it's like, you know, so, but please, what do you got to
Do you know what it is? I'm kind of more basing this off the back of the questions that I have with people around me, and maybe some of my dad's friends or just older people than myself. And generally speaking, the types of conversations I've had is they say, well, I'm like, how often do you sleep with your partner? Once a week or once every other week. So I feel like your relationship might be very unique, the connection that you have with your partner. So it goes back to you saying you need to pick the right person.
Right.
So I'm guessing maybe these people have not necessarily picked the right people, maybe gone for the safer option, whatever it may be. But not everyone is kind of having sex with their partners like most relationships should do. But then again, I look at relationships and I think how many hours do you actually spend with your partner in a day anyway, considering you work and you do this and that and the other, you're spending more time with your work colleagues.
Right.
So, and the time you do spend is probably in front of the TV for an hour or two. I'm guessing that's average anyway.
Yep. Yep.
And that's it. So that kind of dies down throughout a period of time because you're so used to having the same person there.
Yep.
That's just kind of the way I feel like it's going to fizzle out after a certain mark. And I'm going to assume it's after 5-7 years is when you start seeing the most breakups in marriages and relationships.
Yep. All right. So I've got two thoughts on this. One is I completely agree with most of that.
Okay.
All right. And when I say the reason why I say most of that is the only part I disagree with is most relationships break up at 5 to 7. Right now, most relationships break up between between the ages in the UK between 43 and 53.
Okay.
When you've been married for 20, 30 years because of empty nest.
Okay.
But it is, to your point, the reason why is because you spent all of this time focused on your kids, not focused on each other. Your kids get older, they leave the house, and you look at your partner, you're like,
Nothing in common anymore.
Wow.
nothing in common. I don't even know you. We've only been spending an hour every night watching TV.
Yeah.
You're a TV watch buddy, that's all. It's like all Netflix, no chill.
There's no intentional time with the right person almost.
Yeah. So that's the only part. But I agree with everything else. There's a dude named Eli Finkel out of New York who I love. He wrote a book called The All or Nothing Marriage. And his research shows us that 80% of marriages today have lower satisfaction than they did 20, 30 years ago.
Wow.
So you're right. Most marriages, people just want out of them.
Yeah.
But 20% of marriages are more satisfied. There's more level of satisfaction than ever before, right? I feel like I'm in that group.
Yeah.
But the reason why is because, to your question earlier, is like, I did the work, my wife did the work. We focused on our trauma. We focused on our social capital. We focused on our feedback. Like, the tools are there. Like, this podcast is providing like these gems, these keys. It's like, you have to use these tools and don't settle. Don't marry the person who's avoidant or whatever just because she's beautiful. Like, it's like, we've got to think with the bigger head. You know what I mean?
Someone that's good for your soul, man. You need someone that's good for your soul.
I said on the podcast once, not too long ago, your relationship will go as far as your sex life. Would you agree with that?
Yes, people, one little favour to ask of you before this podcast gets started. Just hit that subscribe button. It's doing us the world of favours and you're growing along with us. Enjoy this podcast.
For the most part, there are some sexless marriages where people are just cool with it. But for the most part, if you show me somebody who's a couple who's not having sex, they hate their marriage and it's going nowhere. So yeah,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Why do you think most marriages fail? I like, because there was a statistic I was reading the other day. Like 50, I could be wrong on the number. Like, it's definitely in the 50s, but 56% of all marriages fail, and then another like maybe 20% stay together because of the kids. So that means that's like 73 something, wherever the mass is, 73% or 76%.
And to add to that statistic, they say 80% of marriages or divorces are initiated by women as well.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this.
Yeah.
So one is the statistics on marriage rates are for the most part, are completely false. Like completely false. And it's because everyone's like quoting an article that quoted one dude that misread the research.
Right. Okay.
So the most recent, 2022 data for the UK is there's a 35% divorce rate.
Okay.
In the UK, which is, all right, not bad. It's not 50% that everybody says.
Yeah.
It's 35%. It's actually slightly higher than the US. And that has been stable for roughly the last 20 years. There was a little dip in, right? But for the most part, stable. What's the big change? Your point. The big change is that women now initiate divorce more than men. A matter of fact, women on average know 1 year prior to their breakup that they are breaking up.
They mentally check out before.
Long before.
I always say this.
Long before. And the dude is like, what happened? And she's like, it happened a year ago. Right. And so,
heavy.
And now there's lots of reasons for this, but yeah, so those are the facts. But that's why I go back to, we have to put more work in choosing the strongest partner.
Right.
We typically don't do this. We normally just we either just accept you meet somebody, you settle, you vibe with them, and then you have a child and you move in, and then you're like, all right.
That's what I said. That's what I said on the pod the other week, weren't it? People just rush into stuff and they just go for the nearest partner. They don't think about the long term. They think so short term, and then they fuck up their life.
Mate, completely. Yeah. It's like, so my first career was research and investment banking, right? And I went to business school. A lot of people don't even realize I went to business school. So I have an MBA, right? Awesome. And when I got out, I started working for a very wealthy Turkish family, right? Hoş geldiniz. So all my Turkish people, hoş geldiniz. And so...
you try to go. You wouldn't wait to put that one in, right?
And so what my job was is I basically managed their investments in the United States, and their investments were acquisitions that were being made, right? So we would acquire companies. They owned a large educational holding out of Turkey. Now, most of my work went into trying to figure out the strength of a business. So I would have to determine, like, how strong is this business? That was my job. A lot of that had to do with how strong the co-founders were, how strong the partners were. And what I noticed is that more people, more entrepreneurs put more effort and energy into their co-founder, who their co-founder was, or who was in their business versus their
Partners.
their partner in life.
Interesting.
Like, it's crazy. They would spend all this time on, oh, you know what? As a company, we need to be stronger. So we need to do more professional development. We need to learn how to communicate better. And we need to learn how, like, you're doing all of these things with your business partner.
Crazy.
And at home, you and your wife don't even talk.
I literally said this. I said a partnership, a business partnership is like a marriage.
Yes.
That is, we can relate this to this pod. I've put more effort into this pod than after any girl.
Yeah.
100%.
I've never put
100%.
Anything else.
It's
Yeah.
so true.
This in the gym, I've never put more effort in anything. This in the gym, I put more effort than any
So
relationship
true.
ever.
Yeah.
That's probably why we're so consistent and we're doing well, because we pull each other up if someone's kind of slowing down or just hasn't done something. We openly like kind of talk about it and we kind of move on from it. So that goes into communication. We communicate.
And
everything.
we always manage expectations from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
We always will pull each other up. And maybe we don't do that in relationships.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. If y'all show up like in your relationship like you show up here, you're going to win.
Find me a wife. 5'9". 80 kilograms.
5'9"?
I am 5'9". You're 5'7.5". Sorry, there. I'll bit very quickly.
You see the domestic relationship coming here, do you know what I mean?
I can see it. But you know what though? I bet y'all do something that, and you ask, why do most relationships fail? They fail. You know, if you look at the charts, everyone says they fail because of finance, they fail because of sex, they fail. No, they fail because of poor communication around those things. And ultimately, we have a hard time resolving conflict.
Yeah.
What, men?
Everyone.
All right.
And
Is that down to, you think, avoidance of having that awkward conversation?
absolutely. I mean, you know, I'm sure you'll love Tim Ferriss. You know, Tim Ferriss said, the harder conversations we have in life, the higher quality of life we
Yeah,
have.
so true.
Because so many of us want to avoid the hard things.
Yeah.
Especially in your relationship. It's easier just to, I'm not even talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, think about, like, especially, you know where men actually fail a lot in our communication is around sex in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to say specifically what we like, what we don't like, etc. So we're like, I'm not even going to touch that, right? I'd rather just watch. You know, it's like, no, discuss those things. Talk about those things, right? When a problem pops up on this podcast about the business of the podcast, I bet you discuss it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
correct.
do,
All the
yeah.
time.
Like, and then there's probably conflict, but then you resolve the conflict. And because you resolve the conflict, you become stronger. That conflict in a relationship works just like a muscle in the gym. You break it down for it to what?
Rebuild.
Grow stronger.
Yeah.
Same thing is you need to have conflict in a relationship. And if you could resolve it, the relationship becomes stronger.
Yeah. That makes
Why do you
sense.
think men are men are notoriously bad at communicating? Do you think that's down to a pride thing, or what do you base that on? Like, most guys struggle to talk about their emotions, struggle to talk about past trauma. You know, I feel as though a lot of guys today, a lot of people, but let's keep it specific for the boys, that I think a lot of people play on the whole mental health side of things and stuff like that, where, you know, so they need to tread carefully when it comes to that point. But I don't think guys openly talk about if they're having a shit day, a shit time, good time, bad time. Like, they're just not good at that. Do you know what I mean? Maybe
Right.
at all.
Right.
Why do you
Right.
think that is?
Right. I mean, all problems lead back to us as children. When I was growing up in New York, I had a god sister who lived with us for a little while. And when we were little, I don't know, 7 years old, Paul, here's the ball, go outside, right? Go play, go kick the ball, Chantel, you stay and you with your girls, you guys play house and you discuss what's happening in the dollhouse, and you have these conversations around the dresses, right? It starts as a child. Like everything starts as a child, which is why being an engaged parent is everything. Is everything being an engaged parent. So that's where it starts. Then there's expectations in society. You know, I'm sure if you were to go back as a child and you could watch yourself, if you were like watching yourself as a child, I'm sure there were people that had different expectations for you as young boys
100%.
as they had for the young girls.
Facts, yeah.
So it starts there. Starts even in the playground. Like my son, I have a son who's 9 years old, and he tells me all the time, he's like, man, Dad, like the girls talk all the time.
They're so
like
funny.
they just talking all the time. Now, I would tell him, I was like, all right, Liam, there's a reason for that though, is because girls' brains develop faster. And this is fact. Like this is not, it is fact.
Yeah.
At a young age, girls normally have a 2-year age advantage to us. So my 9-year-old who has other 9-year-old girls in the class, no, those are like 11-year-old boys in the class. They're more highly verbal, right?
Sure.
Than the boys. So that's another thing. So teachers that don't understand this will, oh, you know what? She performs better on the test than he does. And this is why there's a big movement. Richard Reeves out of the UK, but he's,
I know what you're going to say. Talking about trying to get rid of the tests and the exams, aren't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's a movement around getting rid of the test exams and also holding guys back.
Yeah.
To say, you know what? A 9-year-old boy maybe shouldn't compete on a verbal exam with a 9-year-old girl because literally they have different brains, you know? So you can see how society like just shapes it and shapes it and shapes it and molds it. Now, you know, to the ladies watching, it's like, sure, it's still a patriarchal society and there's still a hella more advantages that men have than women. But at the same time, a lot of people don't like to talk about the disadvantages that boys and young men also have had. Yeah. Right. So that's where it starts, and then it just grows from there.
So when it comes to building these habits and it molding us into who we are as adults, how do you break those habits then? Like what route do you take? Like how do you start? Like if you're conscious about it and you want to change a certain habit, how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, it starts here. Like, and I'm not just trying to gas you guys out. Like, I think this is important work. So it starts by someone watching this. Like anybody, I guarantee anybody who's watching this is someone who's interested in living a better life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it starts with just awareness. Wow. Like, yo, I could have a better life. That's the awareness. Then it goes to what I call inspiration, aspiration, and motivation, right? So this podcast, I think what's great is they probably get all of it. So motivation is basically you have other people who you feel are similar to you doing the thing.
Okay.
Because so people watching, they'd be like, oh yeah, I resonate with blah, 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 blah. I have a very similar life. Yeah, whatever. So I see them doing it. I now can do it. But you need motivation all the time. It's not like a one-off thing. It's like we always need motivation, right? So that's motivation. Then you need aspiration. What's aspiration? Aspiration is someone who's already done it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you got Paul on. He's the OG. He's done it. He's having sex every day. I want to have sex every day. Every day. I had it. I will most likely tonight when I get back, and my wife is not asleep, most likely will happen tonight as well. So it's like, okay, I've got aspiration, someone who's done it. Right. Then you've got inspiration, aspiration. So the inspiration is more of the instruction that comes with it.
Right.
So it's like, okay, so give me steps. We're talking about books to read. We're talking about feedback loops, right? That's the active work. So you've got the active work, you got the aspiration, you got the motivation. You could change.
Love that. Wow.
That's crazy.
That's deep.
I want to fucking get a board up and go through that. Motivation, inspiration,
aspiration. Yeah.
That's so spot on.
Yeah. And then keep that in your life all the time. If you have that all the time, you're not just going to win, you're going to win big if you have that in your life all the time.
So for the youngsters, like, and guys older than us, guys our own age, but I mean, we know our demographic is anywhere between sort of 18 to 34. Okay. That's our main, and I think 86% men?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Which is great. That's why we started the podcast, was for men, right? For those guys, especially let's go for the younger generations, especially, like, one, like, what do you feel their biggest challenges are when it comes to now being demasculated?
Yeah.
And like, how do they get around that without people saying that that's a bad thing to be a masculine man and be a bad guy? And then on the second hand of that, on the back end of that, how do these younger guys now start being more masculine, better communicators when it comes to women in a better way as well than what they are currently?
Can I add on to that? Also, on the back of his question, you said in the very beginning, go back 2.3 million years, men had to be providers and protectors. So that's obviously bred into us and into our DNA. So why, on the back of his question, why do you think that's now trying to be taken away from us?
Yeah. All right. This is a deep one.
Sorry, man.
No, this is good. No, I love this. All right. So once again, I'm super nerd. So let me go to some.
Let's go. Yeah, go for it.
All right. So this is actually very recent, just within the last maybe 1 month. Researchers basically said that heterosexual men all fit within 3 categories of masculinity today. Okay. Now, you could have different traits of all 3, but you are predominantly in one of the 3. Here are the 3. One is called a neo-traditionalist. That is a man who wants to be a provider and protector. Secondly is you have an egalitarian man. The egalitarian man says, you know what? Everything we split, right? And not just the bill, but it's like, you're going to wash dishes tonight. I'm going to wash dishes tomorrow, right? You're going to take out the trash. I'm going to take out tonight. You're going to take out the trash tomorrow, right? We split everything, right? And then there's the progressive. The progressive says we're going to negotiate, right? We're going to negotiate all of our, gender differences. We're going to negotiate that, okay? So you have progressive, you have egalitarian, and then you have neo-traditionalists. Now, what category do you guys think you are in?
The first one, I think.
First one.
First as well.
Okay.
I like to think I am. Anyway.
Yeah, I like to think I am. Yeah.
Okay. So the first category is the dying breed.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I can
for
see
sure.
that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. The first category is the dying breed. I asked my wife, I was like, what do you think I am? Right? Because, I want to be, modern. So I'm like, yeah, but she's going to say I'm progressive. She's like, you are 99% traditionalist. Like that's who you are. And I thought, you know what? That is who I am. And that's who you wanted. And that's who I wanted to be, right? So the first question is that you have to know who you are, and then you have to surround yourself with people who are like-minded. Now, let me ask this. What do you think the difference is between toxic masculinity and healthy masculinity? And I should just say masculinity, because masculinity is good. I think is good.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you think is the difference between toxic masculinity and masculinity?
I've said this before. I don't believe there is toxic masculinity, or I don't think there is such thing as it. I think masculinity is masculinity. And I think that is it. I don't really know what the toxic traits would be of that. That's what my view on it is.
Okay, fair. What do you guys think?
I think if there was to be toxic tendencies in males, it's those men that abuse power potentially, and women that are trying to climb up within the hierarchy ladder of a business. The men will use their position of power to get what they want potentially, and things like that. Yeah, they might be bullies and things like that. I think that's the only way that people could potentially position toxic masculinity, is those men that have positions of power use it to their advantage.
Okay, all right, fair.
I suppose I would just say toxicity in general just comes from not what you say, but how you say it, and the reason why you are saying what you are. So is it a case of, where is it coming from? Is it a case of you're doing it for yourself, for them, or is it for like yourself or them? So it just kind of falls onto that category for me.
Gotcha. So you like, if you're using.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It depends why you're saying what you are and why you're telling them to do what they're, that specific thing really. I don't know if that's made sense, but.
Okay. Yeah, no, it does. It does. What do you think?
I just think you could be a good person or a bad person. You could be masculine and good, and you could be masculine and just a bad person.
Yeah,
I don't think the two are even tied together.
Yeah. All right.
Facts.
Yeah. So this is what I find interesting is I do think that toxic masculinity just became a buzzword that people run with.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is on these shows, on these the dating shows, is if you see a post of any guy someone's going to comment and say, that's toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
That's toxic masculinity. That's toxic masculinity.
Such a buzzword.
It just, and there's so many buzzwords around like relationships today, you know. Ultimately, I think we're kind of all on the same page. There's a book that Dr. David Buss wrote called Bad Men, right? And it's about the dark tetrad. Y'all heard about this?
No.
All right, so this links into what we're talking about here. The dark tetrad, so Dr. David Buss, he's an evolutionary psychologist, right? He's actually like the godfather of evolutionary psychology. And he says that basically, it's him and a couple of people, there are five categories of bad men. These are toxic men. Someone who is a sociopath. Now, what is a sociopath? Sociopath is someone who pain doesn't register for them, right? They will go out and commit pain and it doesn't register for them. There's many things, but it's a sociopath, right? Then you have a narcissist, right? We hear everyone, like that's another buzzword. Everyone's a narcissist. No, not everyone. As a matter of fact, less than 15% of the population are narcissists. The fastest growing demographic of narcissists are actually women. Right? But that's not talked about, you know, in pop culture. Now, narcissism is literally about using, right? So that's narcissism. Then you have Machiavellianism. That's the third. There's four. What is Machiavellianism?
Never heard of it.
That is, have you heard of Machiavelli? Have you heard of the book The Prince?
Machiavelli.
Machiavelli.
What? Two-part.
Yeah. But you know where he got that from?
No, I don't know.
Okay, so there's a book that I want you to read called The Prince.
The Prince.
The Prince.
It's my favorite bar, isn't it, boys?
The Prince is about being Machiavellian, being a Machiavellian.
Okay.
All right. That is someone who strategically goes about using people, but you use it. You're doing it through dark strategy, right?
So like manipulation, almost.
Manipulation.
Okay,
absolutely.
got you.
And then last, you have a sadist.
Okay.
Right. Sadist. What does a sadist like to do? Inflict pain.
Right. Okay.
Right.
So those are the 5 traits.
So those are the 5. That's called the dark tetrad. Anyone who falls in the dark tetrad will always have a toxic relationship. And the reason why I say I agree with you is because if you don't fall within the dark tetrad, which is the smallest percentage of the population, it's not toxic. It might just be not smart. A mistake.
You know,
so true.
Or a behavior that was just learned incorrect. But it doesn't mean that it's toxic. It doesn't mean that. And so I think you know what I love about unpacking this is that we're just abusing these words that people don't even know what the definitions are and what they're about. Like if you fit within that, that's toxic. But a small percentage of people do.
Well, same as like the word misogynistic now has become, that's a buzzword for men. Apparently every man's misogynistic.
I got called out on the show, you know.
Oh, what for?
On the Celebs Go Dating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they didn't put it in.
Oh, really?
She said to me, "You're coming across misogynistic," and I went define misogyny to Chloe Burrows, and then she just started saying something else. I said, "No, it's prejudice against men." I was like, "You don't even know the word you're using," and they didn't put that in there. We can cut that out if you want.
Keep it in, Ash. Keep it in.
I don't mean to put him in the.
And Paul was fired from
Oh dear. No, but would you say though, the reason why people think that we're toxic now is modern day feminism that spun that? I feel like maybe modern day feminism has changed from what it used to be to what it is now, and it's teaching women to hate men.
All right. This is deep. I will even remove the modern day feminism and just say that I think that there's a lot of ignorant people in the world.
Yeah.
And what I think what social media has exacerbated is that everyone's trying to get attention. And so the quickest way to get attention is to use one of these buzzwords.
Yeah.
So the number one buzzword that is used all the time, matter of fact, is used all the time against me.
Really?
On Celebs Go Dating.
Okay.
Is, man, Paul's a gaslighter.
Gaslighter. You know what? Yes, you're right.
I was like, you don't even know. You probably don't even know the origin of that. You know what I mean? It's like, but you're a gaslighter. And the moment that someone puts that label on you, you feel like, oh, damn, I got to defend that. Right? And then you're now defending a title that the person that used it on you doesn't even know the definition of. And all of a sudden you get put in this category.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's just so much ignorance that,
so true.
you know, that's
So
how
true.
So true.
Yeah.
Did we get to the bottom of your question? Because we went with a question within a question.
Sorry, tangent. No, I loved it. No, I loved
That's
it.
good. I love it.
Basically, the younger guys today, like what can they be doing to ensure that they are still masculine men in a good way?
Yeah. All right. Thank you for bringing it back. So I think one part though is to understand all this that we're talking about. Like read all of these things, understand what it is to be a bad man.
Yeah.
And what it is to be a good man. Like read these things. I think that's very important. And then also it gives you defense when someone is saying you're a gaslighter, right? Or you're a misogynist. Like it gives you defense. Like, no, let me tell you who I am.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So that's one. Another thing is that it is incredibly important to surround, especially, so this is for everyone, but namely for men in 2023, 2024, is you need to have a close crew of friends. So I'm sure you guys have seen the studies around the 3 a.m. friend. Have you seen
No, I haven't.
3 a.m.
the 3 a.m. friend?
Man, you're so clued up, bro.
Oh my God, man. Yeah, I didn't even know we were talking, but this is my subject.
Yeah, tell us, go for
I'm
it.
so interested, man.
All right. This is probably going to blow you away. Actually, it might not be a surprise, but it could blow you away. So there's studies every year. There's people that do studies around, and the question is this: how many friends do you have that
I think I know what you're going to say.
you can call at 3 a.m. that would come to your house to support you, be there for you? You're like, I'm going through something, man, who can I call? Ozzy, okay, can you come over? I live all the way in central London. Like, are you going to come an hour and come see me at 3 a.m.? Yeah.
I'll come down.
Right. But see, the question is how many have that?
Yeah.
Now, when this survey's been done for men, 2022, you know how many 3 a.m.
It's going to be shocking, isn't it?
How many do you think we have
Less
now?
than 15.
Okay, so you say less than 15. What do you
Hang
think
on, what's the
around
question you're asking?
that? So men,
How many friends do you have that you could call at 3 a.m.?
on average? Yes. What's the average?
2.
Yeah.
2.
I'm
Joe,
going to say 1.
Yeah,
I
I
thought
think
we said
one.
the percentage. How many friends
How many
specific?
friends specifically?
Less than a handful. I'm going to say 1 or 2.
Okay, so you got one or two. And guess what? Y'all are all too high.
You can say 0.
Wow.
It's 0.
Fucking hell.
It's 0.
What?
That's the reason why 75% of suicides are men.
Jeez.
Wow.
Right? It's because we don't have anybody that we feel like we have in our corner when the times get hard, when the times get tough.
That's
right?
crazy.
We don't have that. And then when we show back up in the world, it's like you're a misogynist.
Right.
That's insane.
You know what I mean?
That statistic.
And so you could begin to understand why we're dealing with such why we have mental health issues.
Yeah.
And so to your question is like, okay, let's get well read, let's get educated, but then let's also surround ourselves with people who we could call at 3 a.m. who have our back. Right. I think that's very important. Then there's a myriad of other things. Like I think being physically fit is very important. Like I think all of these things are key, but that's where it begins. Like, let's get educated and let's get a tight crew.
Do you have a tight crew?
You know what's interesting is, I mean, I'm not trying to make anybody cry on this, but man, my best friend passed away.
Wow. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry
man,
to
from
hear
New
that.
York. And it was interesting where I'm like on the Drake, no new friends almost. It's like I had a crew from when I was little, and like, this one got locked up, and then this happened to this person. And then I had my one guy who died, and so it's one of these where it's like, okay, I've got my wife, and it's almost like I'm training up my boys to be my
Your
crew.
boys, yeah.
It's like they're my little princes. It's like, all right, that's my crew. And I have friends, you know what I mean? And people that I meet that are cool with, but to that point, that's a deep one, because when he died, I knew there would be a massive hole that would never be filled. I was like, yo, he's gone, and I'll never have that. And even to the point where it's interesting. coming to something like this, he rolled with me everywhere. So if I were to come here, like, especially coming from New York, we got this thing. It's like you come somewhere new, you don't know who's there. It's like
Go with someone.
you come with a crew, you come with somebody. That's why I've got Biggs in the car. He's outside. one issue, I'm like, Biggs, he's huge. Like he's 8 feet tall. Like he's knocking 3 people out. So it's like, but he would always be there. He'd always like, okay, if things are gonna go down, like I'm swinging first. So that was a massive blow.
I'll tell you what, bro. After this, you can call any of us at 3 a.m.
Thank you. I'm like,
Yeah, we're there.
Your phone will be on DND, won't it?
Everyone of my favourites can break D&D. So it's all good.
That's what I do as well.
Even Mert went to pick up a new car today. And when he told me he was going to pick it up earlier in the week, I said, I know I'll come with you. Like, do you want me to come with you? He's going up there by himself, but he rolled up there by himself. He's cool. But only because he said he knew the guy. I was like, I'll go with you. I'll just take my laptop with me, man.
Yeah,
like, if you want to go, I'll go with you. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're going somewhere you don't know who's
But
there.
it's
Do you know what I'm
nice,
saying?
these little things. Like even when we came back from Romania on, was it Monday?
Yesterday.
Bro.
Oh, yesterday.
Last night.
We
2
was here
a.m.
at like 2 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
Even small things like he's like, look, make sure you message me when you're in.
Yes.
And I was like,
And you
okay.
did.
He's like, no, make sure you message me. And I was like, okay, first thing I'm going to do is message Mason and say, I'm home. But like, those are the little things that you kind of, that you cherish the most, like our heart to heart on the
balcony.
terrace. Like it's those little things that you kind of cherish. So that's what a lot of people probably are missing from their life. So, and we preach it so much to say, look, put yourself in the right circles, be friends with the right people. And if anyone's not doing you any justice, get rid of them.
Yes.
Don't be afraid to get rid of those people.
Yes.
And look for better, because I had shit people in my life at some point.
Yep.
For sure. And these guys are all right, I suppose.
Do you know what though? Like we be saying, like I'll ask you a question now. Paul, how long do you reckon us boys have known each other?
Oh man. I mean, so I'm gonna say by the fact that you're asking me the question, it can't be long. So
Switched on dude, man.
So I'm going to go with, all right, because I like to be right.
No pressure.
I'm gonna say a year.
Collectively, 6 months.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn. That. Yeah. I mean, and and if you hadn't asked me, I would have been like, no, y'all like you were crew for 10 years, like 15
Not
years.
at all. Yeah, we came.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
Do you we always say like, and I reckon if females heard us say this next sentence, they would go, that's sad as shit. But we always say hanging with the boys is the most fun activity on the planet.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything funner than being with the boys. Like it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just, I love it.
Yeah. But you know what though? I think this is good. It's like you're happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The number one determinant of having a high satisfaction relationship is that you have high satisfaction in yourself.
Right.
Facts. Yeah.
So the fact that you have this is the setup for the big win later, because you're not. It's not like you're pressed to make something happen because you're good. So if something happens or someone comes into your life that then takes you not away from these guys, but moves you, from these guys, they're going to be spectacular. Like they're going to be great. So it's a good thing.
And do you think that men perform better in like all men environments? Because we said like when we're together, we're so much more productive. We get so much more shit done. Our ideas are bouncing off each other all the time.
Yeah.
So I said like a male dominant environment just for us is like to live in or work in. Do you reckon that's actually the science behind that?
There is science. All right. So, and I know the researcher. The researcher is a mentee of mine. So there's a guy named Alexander.
And you got everything. You got so much information.
Your memory is
My
phenomenal.
brain. And what's crazy? As we get older, our physically our skulls shrink. But I feel like my head's been getting bigger. But there's a dude named Alexander. Shout out to him. Who he went to Whitgift in Croydon. And when he graduated, he became a PhD student. And what he did is he researched all of the same-sex schools here in the UK. Because in the US, we don't really have this. Like when we got here, we put our boys in school. It was like, nope, the boys are going this way, the girls are going this way. I was like, what? I would want to have girls in my school. Like I liked having girls. So this is a new culture. So I wanted to understand what are the benefits and what are the pros and cons. So that's when I connected with Alexander. And what he found, and this is probably, maybe this will shock you guys, is that the men didn't perform as well as the women.
in an
all male environment.
Gotcha.
So specifically, he was looking at independent schools in the UK, and he found that women outperformed the men after they got out of school. And you know what the reason why? The reason why is because the
social
men
skills
didn't have the social skills to interact with the women when they got out.
Interesting.
So it's not that in the environment it was bad for the fellas. It was cool. It was when they got out, they were like, oh, what do I do?
Yeah,
you know
so true.
what I mean?
Yeah, so true.
Yeah, and they didn't know how to get down, and that caused a lot of issues. Whereas the women, highly verbal, they were like, all right, whatever. So that's what the research told us.
Wow, okay.
Is that
very
out of the environment, we had a hard time adapting to the ladies.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I went to mixed. You all go to mixed schools?
Yeah.
What are you asking me for?
I don't know what you went to school with me.
Mixed, yeah.
Mixed, yeah.
Very multicultural, my school, which is one of the facts I loved about it. I've been around so many different types of cultures,
Yeah,
so
man.
I can kind of look at someone who's from a different ethnicity and go, you're from here, where some people can't do that.
Yes.
Some people are just not aware of it and they just couldn't, they just wouldn't know. And that's nothing against them. They're not ignorant or whatever it's called. It's just the fact of they've not kind of grown up in that environment.
They don't agree. And earlier, there's a question, I guess this was off camera, was like, why am I here in London?
Yeah.
You know? And that is the reason.
Right.
Is because in the U is culture. So in the US, so I was born in New York, but I also lived in Washington, DC. And in the United States, everyone likes to say we're a cultural melting pot. That's the biggest falsehood, biggest myth on the planet. We do live in the same cities, but we live apart. So where I lived in Washington, DC, beautiful neighborhood, great neighborhood. It was like all black. Maybe half a mile down the road, it was all white.
Right.
Right. And then when you break it down within the neighborhood, it's like, okay, hold on for a second. This block, all the Turks live on this block. You know, this block, like there the divides. There was also divides around socioeconomic. So here y'all have council estates. In the US, we have projects.
Okay.
In the US, you would never, ever see a $500,000 home next to a project. Ever. It would be divided by 3 railways and a bus stop and all this thing. Whereas here, you got a $5 million £5 million house, and then right next to is a council estate.
Yeah, so true, yeah.
And they shop at the same grocer on the corner. It's like there's a full and there's different parts of the UK, but in a lot of London, in particular, where I live in South London, it is the most diverse area with a population over 1 million people in the world in this little area that I live.
Yeah.
And there's 200 languages spoken.
That's crazy.
I was like, this is the way the world should operate right here. My sons, their friends are from everywhere on the planet, and they love everything about them.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what's dope about.
Do you like London?
South London in particular is my favorite area in the world.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a big statement.
Favorite area I ride for South London I feel like I have found home. And remember, I'm from New York, right? But I feel like I have found.
That's lovely to hear, man.
Yes.
That's
The
lovely
South
to
London man them being like this now.
Yeah, Chelsea.
Like, come on.
Oh, yeah.
It is, though, isn't it? South East London is the best part. We are so lucky to live where we live, and we are born and raised in pretty much South East London. Like, we're so lucky.
Yeah.
It's on our doorstep. It's such a vibe.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
a blessing. It's a blessing.
It's such a vibe.
Yeah.
But have you found? I'm surprised actually. Now, to be fair, going back to like your solid group of friends and stuff, I'm surprised you haven't found good boys over here. Like,
No, so I have crew, but it goes back to the almost the no
new friends.
no new friends. It's really weird because all right, so this is just my theory. This is how I grew up.
okay, cool.
All right, and this is gonna sound warped, but it is what it is.
Go for it.
So when I grew up, who I idolized and who almost everybody idolized were the drug dealers.
Mm-hmm.
So hip hop came from New York. And what a lot of people don't realize about the origins of hip hop, like I'm talking about, or I should say origin, but like hip hop in the 80s, is that all of the rappers just wanted to be drug dealers. That is fact. You could find any rapper who is 36, 35 and older, they all got started because they wanted to be drug dealers. That was it.
Oh, okay.
They wanted to be the drug dealers were our everything on on the block. It was everything.
Because they had the money.
The cars, the money, the girls,
the power,
respect,
everything. There was a guy named Slim who I idolized. Slim had like blue Acura Legend and like all these things, but he never rolled with anybody.
Oh wow.
Always solo. And whenever I was like, because I'm gonna be like, okay, so why do you do this? Why don't you need crew? Don't you? He was like, well, I've got thugs or whatever I can call, but when I mix people, then I've got problems. When I add, people to the mix, right? I have problems. Now, as a child, as a young person hearing this, that was my idea of, okay, that's what I want. I want to just be solo. I want to have associates, right? That I could go out and do and hang out with, but ultimately I want to operate my own thing. And this actually became a big problem for me as an entrepreneur because I didn't want to have a co-founder at first. I didn't want to have I felt like I could do everything, right? I was everything. I could do I was like, if I wanted to set up a podcast, I'm doing everything, right? I don't need co-hosts. I'll do it, right? And this became a problem. And I think that was a selfish aspect of me that I had to fight to overcome. And I may be still fighting that. But then, and this is also just a factor of how I grew up, is then you see people around you get locked up or die or whatever may happen, and then you think, okay, I don't even want to deal with the emotional
attachment to that.
Because you're going to go away anyway. So if I think you're not going to be in my life for a long time, and maybe this is, and yes, you could probably guess my attachment style is avoidant. So if I already think that you're not going to be in my life, I'm already locked out. So I'm like, okay, we're cool, but let's just keep this at a distance.
It's like you're managing expectations type of thing.
Yeah, because ultimately, it's like I don't have an attachment to get hurt.
Yeah,
and then boom, I attach, and then boom, my best friend dies. Like, oh my god,
it's amazing though from hearing what you preach and saying, well, kind of what you preach, saying have a solid crew around you.
Yes.
To then, but it's good, obviously, that you're so aware of the type of individual that you are in terms of your attachments to other people.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like I said, the reason I asked you about us boys is because me and him grew up together our whole life, same birthday, same hospital, same everything. We've got our crew, which we have grown up with, and we've known 10, 15 plus years, and we're still with them today. It's funny, they're all starting to go on their own little journeys and stuff now, and we're starting to see that, as we have, right? And we've met these boys, and I think the message I want to put out to the younger generations, or to anyone our own age, is that don't ever be afraid to actually bump into new people. Like, we read the energy of one another to say, is this going to work or not? And it has. That energy just worked from day one, but we've still got our boys that are they're our family, do you know what I mean? But we've also tried to integrate these guys in with them. That's right. Yeah, we have. Like, we brought them out because we know that our boys' energy is exactly match theirs. I mean, over the last, I'd probably say 10 years, there's only really been 2 people that have come into the group and are still here today and have been all over the world with us. And now these 2 are another 2.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No,
like, don't be afraid to do that.
Not only should we not, and but I not only agree with that, like I endorse, we should be bringing new people into our circle always, right? Okay. So now some more research for you. Robin Dunbar, he created the Dunbar rule.
Okay.
Do you know about this?
No.
The Dunbar rule.
No.
The Dunbar rule states that we each have about 150 people that we are close friends with, roughly, give or take. And I always say close friend is something like their parents' names. You know what I mean?
150, did you say?
Roughly 150. And within that 150, we have circles. So we have the first group of like maybe 1, 2, 3 people who are our besties. And then we have another circle of people who maybe we see every week or two. And then it keeps going out until you get to your 150th friend.
Mm-hmm.
This could be the person that you knew from school 10 years ago, and you rarely see them, but they're still within the 150.
Yeah.
Right. And what Robin Dunbar and another guy named Mark Granovetter out of Stanford says is that the biggest opportunities we get in our life doesn't come from our number 1 friend or our number 2 friend. It comes from our 150th friend. And the reason why, you're like, what?
Yeah.
The reason why is because the 150th friend probably has all the same values that we do, but we haven't tapped into their network or their resources. Think about, so you guys are not 150s. You guys are close. You guys are like 2, 3, and 4, right? But you've been together for, well, together 6 months.
Yeah.
In another 6 months, I guarantee you already would have done everything for each other, like without even asking. You would be there for each other.
Mm-hmm.
But your 150th friend doesn't even know what your needs are because you don't talk to them, because you don't see them, right? So the point with Mark Granovetter and Robin Dunbar is they say, go to your 150th friend, go to your 149th friend, and that's where you look for opportunities.
That's interesting.
Wow. Yeah.
But to your point of to the young fellas, it's like keep a circle, is that you want to keep pulling people in, and to your point earlier, you want to keep firing people.
Yeah.
So when the 150th is not serving you, you're not serving them, kick them out.
Yeah.
But then meet new people and bring them in.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Maybe, yeah.
And you want to keep doing that. And that's how you get the biggest opportunity in life. And so that's why we should be constantly surrounding ourselves with
Networking.
with people.
Networking,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Listen, man, I don't want to take too much more of your time, but that flew by.
You know,
I could sit here all night.
I could sit here for hours. Man.
Yeah, it was good, man.
That was
good.
one of the best pods I've ever done.
That was incredible.
Oh,
I
for real.
appreciate
No, for
One of the
real.
best conversations.
Yeah.
Do you know how I know? Because I didn't speak hardly a word.
You know,
Yeah, I normally chat a lot, and I was just sitting there like listening, taking all this, soaking it all up.
I said it to you boys. I was just waiting to see you meet him. I was like, you guys are gonna love him.
That was great,
Oh,
man.
man.
Did you enjoy it?
oh man, I loved it, man. So hold on. All right, so can I ask one last question?
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
go
All right,
ahead.
We got no rush.
All right, what's your number 1 takeaway from our discussion?
I want a
Number 1
wife.
takeaway.
I want a wife. Find me a wife.
Yes, yes, yes.
That you made me feel proud to be a masculine man in 2023.
There you go.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
probably the part we talked about putting as much effort into this pod we should into our relationships with other people.
Yes.
I've just never thought of it that way,
Okay.
and that really resonated with me, I think.
I love it.
Mm.
I love it.
Yeah, man. For me, it was about really owning up to what's gone on in your life as to how that now affects you today and how you address it,
Mm-hmm.
how you communicate that effectively with your
I
people
would
around
second
you.
that as well, brother. Definitely.
Yeah, that was
Definitely,
good, man. That was deep. I
Definitely.
fucking loved
We
every
appreciate you
second.
coming,
I
Paul, man.
love. No. I appreciate you guys dragging me all the way out.
Thank you once again, man. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
That was
Thank you. I
insane. Yeah,
appreciate it.
it's
Thank you.
incredible.
Thank you, Paul, man.
Listen, guys, if you've made it this far,
Done it again.
Wait.
Aaron Ozzy.
Wait, on the close. Wait,
Guys, it does like me.
Paul, on the close. On that, you asked us that closing question, mate. What can you close out for the audience? Like, what is one message you want to close out this
go on.
pod with? On
You know what? Keep following these guys, man. No, really. Like I like what you're doing. I like what you're building. I like the energy. I like the conversation. I think that everyone should just keep following. And when I say follow, is keep watching. Keep. You could disagree, which is cool, but just keep supporting. Because I think you're on to something special.
I
Thank you.
appreciate
wow,
it, man.
thank you,
That
man.
means a
Of
lot.
all the
That
things
means
you
the world to us.
yeah, of
man.
all the
Yes,
things
it
you
really
could have
does.
said, you didn't have to say that. So yeah, that means everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow.
Thank you, bro.
Listen, guys, if you made it this far, we appreciate you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button.
Leave a comment in the comment section.
We'll see you in the next.
Peace.
Peace.